Hello, everybody. It's John Kranz. I want to welcome you to Compass Games Live, episode 58. Today is June 10th, 2021. I've had quite the day today, let me tell you. So we're going to do an abridged, shortened show tonight. We had to, as I announced earlier today, we had to push back our pre-order announcement. Designer needed to reschedule, and our special guest was victim of a blackout. So big accident or a fire at the facilities not far from where he lives, and energy has not yet been restored. So you know what that means, right? You guys are stuck with me. And I had a plan A, I had a plan B, but I didn't have a plan C. So that's bad news for all of you, I'm afraid. But we've got some things we're going to definitely cover really quickly. So why don't we trudge ahead forward and do that? So let's just a quick announcement. I haven't updated the website yet, but obviously we do have some shipping information, and that is Cradle of Civilization. If you haven't noticed already, that game is now shipping. So Cradle of Civilization, which is that huge 3-inch box that Bill did such an awesome job. He did a great synchronized unboxing with Billy last week, which I think is probably going to be one of the best broadcasts we'll ever have. Just how it was so synchronized was really good. So hopefully you all got to see that episode. Just check it out on our YouTube channel. It was our town hall last week, and you can see a lot about Cradle of Civilization. Really impressive, big package. I heard from some people that got the package, really like it. It's really big. It's a really big, probably reminds them of our science fiction Stellar Horizons game. It's one of those big type boxes, and we're happy to see people are receiving it already. So really that's the news, is Cradle of Civilization, but probably perhaps even bigger news is we have a very long anticipated release right around the corner. So we're really excited at Compass that NATO, The Cold War Goes Hot by Bruce Maxwell, sort of his magnus opus, if you will. He spent 2 years redeveloping, having researched and finding all this new research. It's a completely new game, much improved game, and a lot of people are just can't wait to get their hands on NATO. So we're definitely going to be talking about NATO here later in the month. I'm going to have Bruce Maxwell on as well on the show just to talk about it, to show the game, etc. Now that everybody has it, I think there's going to be a lot of attention on that game. Bruce did just a wonderful job with that game. Also, I did want to point out that we have our June special offer. So let me just make the screen a little bit larger here so I can show that. So we just released this information. I'll go full screen here so you can see it a little bit better. So we have 3 titles for the month of June that are on sale. First, we have 2 titles by Adam Starkweather, and then we have a co-design game by Gregory Smith and Mitch Ledford, which is Ostkrieg, and we'll talk about all 3. So first we have Korea Fire and Ice using the operational scale system. It's on sale for $50. Normally it's $85, so you can get it for $50. And again, it's available online. You don't have to do anything special at all. You can just add it to your cart, and there you go. You'll have it for the price of $50 instead of $85. Next, we have Vietnam Rumor of War, again, operational scale system game. And that one's a little bit bigger. So that one is for $55 instead of $89. So you're going to save, as you can see here, you're going to save $34 for Vietnam. And last but not least, we have the Gregory M. Smith, Mitch Ledford co-design, World War II East Front. Basically, Pacific Tide goes to land and the East Front, and that's Ostkrieg. And Ostkrieg's only $35, so you're going to save $24 there. So I hope you will consider those pretty good deals. If you have Pacific Tide, I hope you guys have Pacific Tide. Pacific Tide's done really well. A lot of attention on Pacific Tide, and Ostkrieg is very quick to play. 2-player game, but you can also do it solitaire through the solitaire bot that's included in the game as well. So definitely want to share a little bit of information about that. So just a few things left to cover, and we'll open it up for questions here in a moment. and we'll see where it goes from there. But I do want to mention we're looking for some final play testers. So I've been talking with Christopher Davis. I actually tried with less than an hour before the show. I reached out to Christopher Davis to see if I could catch him, if he could jump on tonight, but he was unavailable. But it's okay. We're going to have Christopher Davis on soon. He's the designer of Operation Storm 333. We did a early Compass Games Live episode with Christopher Davis. Did a great job on the game itself. I think he's done one or two virtual sessions as well. I think he may have done San Diego Historicon recently as well. But we're looking for some final play testers for Operation Storm 333. We're basically at the point now where I'm just confirming with Christopher that the artwork can now go into pre-production. He's just going to confirm for me first if playtesting would result in any player aid cards or the displays having to change. If that's the case, we're going to hold off on the artwork just to make it easier on the artist and also easier on Christopher. We want to make sure we're a little bit more locked down. We have no problem making small changes. Once we go to artwork, we're always going to make small changes here or there, but we do want to make sure play testings reach the point where the game is pretty much set. And that's the last word I got from Christopher, is that the game is pretty much set. He would just like to do one final round of play testing for Operation Storm 333. I believe he's setting up a tabletop simulator so he can do the game virtually online, and he's willing to set up a session with everybody to help them learn the game and to facilitate play testing so we can get some final notes in before we get the artwork done. So if that's something you'd be interested in, please let me know. You can email me at john@compassgames.com. It's the easiest way to reach me. Or also from our website, you'll see the little talk to us where I'm sort of waving at the bottom right of the screen where the mouse pointer is. You can also reach out to me that way. But I'd like to get a few play testers for Christopher for the game. We'll also post on Constant World Forum, on Discord channel, on Facebook. So we'll and Christopher's on several social media sites as well. He's on his own Discord server, and he's also on Facebook, among other places. So we're just looking for a few more play testers, and then we'll be good to go. One more thing I want to do is I do want to give you a sneak peek at something. So I'm going to go full screen again here. And I want to show you where we're at with Fall of Tobruk. So Fall of Tobruk is basically going to the printers first thing Monday. Everything's basically done. What you're seeing here is the final version of the rules before the cover. The front cover was added to the rule booklet, but just want to give you a better idea of what the rules look like for the game. I thought it'd be nice to sort of share that with you. So as you can see here, now, Chris Fawcett's done one or two sessions on the Fall of Tobruk. Again, the Battle of Gazala is what we're talking about here. I think a lot of people walked away really impressed with our interview and how he talked about the details of the game. There's also like a simplified air game. If you don't want to go deep into the air game, Chris also offers a simplified version of the air game. But just I thought I'd do just a quick walkthrough what the rules look like. We'll have them online shortly as well. But again, pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of pages to the rules, believe it or not. I mean, there's a lot of good details in here. I did the rules index, which I'll show you here in a second. I finished the rules index yesterday, and I was really impressed with sort of the minor rules sections of what mechanics we have to look forward to in the game. So there's a lot of talk about reserve tanks, tracking reserve tanks, tank wrecks and repairs, repairing German wrecks, then the Italian-British wrecks. A lot of stuff there. Then there's the air game. So you see air planning is section 6.0. A lot of course, the heart of the system is formation activation with the headquarters and the formation units themselves. So section 7 on the far right talks a lot about the formation activation rules that we have in the game. Command control limitations also around activation. Of course, there's going to be special rules for the British as far as their coordination efforts, or maybe their lack thereof of their coordination efforts. That's something they were hamstrung with. We've got artillery rules here. We've got the various air missions. So if you're doing the full air game, we've got separate air missions in the game at a great level of detail. Probably about 3 to 4 pages make up the air game here, as you can see. So a lot of good information there. getting through movement, and we got general combat, and there's different types of combat. There's artillery barrage. There's the air units that get involved in combat. There's something called first fire step and simultaneous fire step. So how fire actually happens and in what order and how it's resolved. Also, there's mechanics behind that. And again, I haven't thoroughly gone through the rules. I just went through the rules to create the outline, which I'm going to show you last here. But of course, Ghazala was all about the minefields and boxes, which largely, other than Bir Hakeim, the Germans did that end around. So they didn't really do a hard press through the minefields. Maybe they did towards Tobruk more or less, but on the front line, that entire emplacement was really not a factor given the end around that the Germans did under Rommel. And there is a special rule on that German initial maneuver in the game as well. Breaching minefields, defensive boxes, supply sources, how supply works, setting up the game. There's setup charts for the game. Then we've got near the back, and there's also separate player aid cards for this, so don't be concerned when you see this. Oh, it's only in the rules, buried in the rules. No, we have separate player aid cards that covers all the information around the components to the game, how to read the units, the different unit types, as you see here. All this you'll have in player aid cards, so you'll have all the player aid cards you're used to. So what I want to say about this last page, let me see if I can switch the view to a single page here, is we are not going with the last page here, the Appendix C expanded sequence of play, which is page 32, which is the last page of the rules. This has actually been pulled out into two duplicate player aid cards. So both players, for a two-player game, you'll have two copies of the expanded sequence of play as separate player aid cards. What I was doing for fun last night, just to wrap up, took me a little while to get it done, was the rules index. So this is what's now going on the back cover. So I'll zoom in here just to give you an idea, and this will give you a good flavor. Again, when I went through and created this rules index, I really was doubly impressed. I had forgotten the interview and some of the really nice touches that Chris has put into this new design. And they come up here as I do the rules index. You can see various things, a lot of information around the fighters and the air game. If you do the full air game, you're going to have a lot of flavor with almost a mini air game to deal with. And I remember Chris was talking about the most important aspect of his game when you're doing the full game is how you do the planning and interaction of all your assets, not just the ground, but the artillery, the mixed units, command control, and even the air game. And the air game has all different varieties because you've got different missions involved. There's interdiction, of course. And as you can see here from the index, you're probably going to see some of the key aspects of the game. It gets into anti-tank fire, talks about strafing and bombing. So you've got a lot of details around the ground combat, a lot of details around the air system. But again, there is a simplified air system as well that you'll find here. But again, just want to give you a full view. This is probably one of the few times I was able to fill up an entire back page, top to bottom, with a 3-column rules index. So, and luckily it just fit perfectly. So this just fit like a glove. So we've got, I think this will help everybody. So while you're playing the game, you can easily find whatever rule you're going to need to look up. It's all going to be alphabetical. All the major rule sections are going to be in boldface type, so they're going to be a little easier to find and how they stand out. We have some appendix information or some extra information, which we've put in italics text also. And you'll see there's a rules case number along with the actual page number. So I just want to share with you, because Fall of Tobruk is really just winding its way down. It's basically done. The game's done. It's going fully to the printers on Monday. We've done all the proofing. The last thing we literally did today was just proofing the rules index, and we're submitting that now to go on the back cover. And then, of course, the front cover is going on the rules. And then guess what? Everything goes off to the printers on Monday for Fall of Tobruk. We haven't talked much about this, but there's going to be a follow-on title to this system. So if you like this Fall of Tobruk design by Chris Fawcett, which I think you're going to like it a lot, we're going to be doing Operation Crusader next, using the same system pretty much. So that will be the next game that's coming, and we'll talk to Chris about that design here in the near future. Now, I want to switch gears for a second. So, again, I mentioned Plan A fell through. The designer has to reschedule, so we're not going to do the pre-order announcement with y'all tonight. We're going to do it another night. Also, the Plan B of our special guest fell through because of that blackout with that power facility outage or accident that occurred, and he's still under a blackout. So instead of saying who it is, we're going to have him on pretty soon here. So we'll take care of that. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to roll the dice with you guys. So you guys are so good. You guys have been so kind with me and been putting up with me so well. We're going to do something a little different tonight. We're not going to start right now. I'm just going to mention briefly that we're going to do guest dial-ins. So if you want to call in and be a guest of the show and talk about Compass games or anything that's on your mind, I'm going to give you a dial-in number as a guest. And I've got no call screener. It's just me. Nobody behind the scenes, nothing up my sleeves, just me here. So we're going to be doing that in a moment. But one thing I want to mention, and maybe this is something you want to call in and talk about, is I recently did the Consum World brief, which was it's our new newsletter for Consum World. And I'll just zoom in here for a second. And the topic was sort of lamenting limited time in gaming space. So if you're like me, you really can't wait to have the chance to play that big monster game. I'll give you an example. I've been on the hunt for this game for a while, and I always wanted the detergent, right? I always wanted the detergent style box of Wachtemrine here. So, yeah, but when am I going to play it? When am I going to set it up? I don't have dedicated gaming space for this anywhere. I can't really set it up. And I guess there's a lot of you that are sort of in my boat, that you can't set up a big monster game and leave it out. So, people are lamenting, I'm getting near retirement age, and like me, I don't have a game room. I don't have any of that stuff. So what we did is we did this article where we just talked about, what do you do with limited time? And really what I talk about, and I'd love to talk to anybody who wants to dial in if this is a topic of interest, is I think you can still really get a lot of excitement out of the hobby. Because a lot of us have magazine games. So the problem basically is look, I don't want complicated games anymore. I don't want 50, 100 pages of rules. I'm not going to leave it out for weeks at a time, even with Vassal. Okay, thank you for that. But I just want to be able to get some gameplay done in like a single sitting, maybe 2 sittings at the most. So I see that very often. A lot of people say, I used to be a really detailed gamer. I see it on the Consum World forum as well all the time. I used to be really deep into these games and these studies, and I just can't make the time. I can't carve it out with family, with work. Just even retirement's not helping. It's just not happening for me. But I think there's still a very positive spin here. So it's really all those magazine games. So we've got 30 years worth of magazine games, S&T, Wargamer, Command Magazine, Vivictus, Alea. Again, the list goes on and on and on. Paper Wars, of course, right? Because we're Compass Games. But so what I did here, and I'll just zoom in here for a second, was I talked about why not play and rediscover all those magazine games we have. So I've got probably 200 magazine games. I've played maybe 10, 15% of them. So there's a lot of games I haven't played that, guess what? They could be played and learned in a single sitting or two. And the nice bonus is they all have like historical articles that go with them. So I can also learn the history of whatever that game is inserted in the magazine. And what I did here is, and I'm interested if anybody else wants to dial in here, is I'd like to hear if you want to talk about, are you looking at magazine games? Do you have a lot of magazine games? Is there a favorite Paper Wars magazine game you have? I would probably pick Galicia, just top of my head. I would probably just jump on Galicia because I'm a big fan of Michael Resch's World War I games, and I was really happy to see we could do that in issue 97. But you can see here, I picked my 5 all-time favorite magazine games. Stonewall, just to share with you my experience, and maybe somebody else wants to share their experience as far as the top 5. Stonewall's my first pick because Stonewall was my first S&T subscription magazine I received in the mail. as a new subscriber. I was about 15 years old, and I played Stonewall Solitaire to death. Maybe I didn't play it right at first because I had only done a few Avalon Hill games with my older brother, who since left the hobby before I subscribed. So I was doing solitaire gaming all the time before forming a game club. Next was, believe it or not, I got really lucky because the next issue after Stonewall was, guess what? It was my number 2 favorite game. It was Karkov. So most people would think Panzer Group Guderian. And I got to be honest with you, I just played Karkov at the last Dallas Expo a year and a half ago, and I was sort of shocked and surprised. There were some really clever rules in the game around activation and things I didn't remember because I literally played the game last when I was a teenager. So it was 25 years ago or something, or 30 plus years ago, easy, that I hadn't played this game. And I was looking at these rules. I forgot the designer's name, but it wasn't like your typical name. It was somebody else. He had some really clever rules in Karkov. Like I was like, whoa, like I was rediscovering the hobby through a game I hadn't touched in over 30 years. So just want to give props to that. And that's why I didn't mention Panzer Group Guderian. So I only went there once. Desert Fox for sure. Desert Fox. I love North Africa as a theater. So can you tell I'm excited about Chris Fawcett's game Fall of Tobruk? Yes, I'm very excited because I love North Africa, World War II. So Desert Fox is one of my top favorite games. And guess what? I love North Africa. So Decision at Castrine, which was the Wargamer issue. And also it was done as a box. I picked up the 3W box version of Decision at Castrine. It was also done in Japan. Very nice box in Japan. I think it was Hobby Japan. I might be wrong, but also a box Japanese edition as well. So Decision at Castrine, I just love the system, love the game. And yes, we're going to do the North Africa series from Vance von Boris here at Compass. Right now, Vance is working on a North Africa series game for us for the next few months at least. But after that, we're looking to go back to the North Africa series. And yeah, I know only 200. I'm probably being a little, I have every issue, I think, except for Scrimmage. I don't have Scrimmage, and I might not have one of the first issue or two of S&T, but I do have pretty much every issue. I don't know what the number is, to be honest. I've got every Command, S&T, Wargamer. I've pretty much got them all, but they're in storage. I don't have a game room, so I don't have a way to do a count. So it's probably more than 200 magazine games. And the last one, and I don't know if anybody would pick this. I'm curious. Now, here's a magazine that only did maybe 4 or 5 issues. They did Drive on Frankfurt, which I think was really popular if you like that Cold War era, which gets all the buzz today. But I was a huge fan of 40th Panzer Corps by Jim Zoldak. That's an awesome game if you haven't come across it yet. And also I would mention that Chris Harding Simulations has done another Panzer Corps game as well by Jim Zoldak, by James. So you want to definitely talk to Chris Harding and pick up that game. You can order direct from him or through a third party probably. But you should check out this system if you haven't had a chance to do it yet. Now there's a lot of other... So that's the thing. I've picked 5. I could have probably picked 10. And I'm not even putting a dent. I'm not even putting a dent in the wall. There's hundreds of magazine games. And again, it's the perfect footprint. It's probably a single map, single sitting, historical article goes with it. You can have fun reminiscing on how designs were done in the 70s and 80s. I mean, to me, there's a lot of excitement in magazine games. And maybe that's why for me, naturally, I like doing designer signature edition box games because there's a lot of games I think that could get improved on, adding better graphical treatments, more mnemonics for the players, so on and so forth. So one thing I want to mention to you quickly is I'm going to be brave here, and or you're being brave with me, actually. And I just want to mention that if you want to do a guest dial-in, there's a number. Now, I can only do one number at a time, and I'm going to have to pick up right away and figure out how to get the sound to work. I just put this together in the last half hour because that's when I lost my last guest for the show. So is this going to work? It's probably not going to work. I have no idea if this is going to work. But I thought I would simply open up the discussion. If you want to talk about magazine games, want to call me about it, I'd say I've got my phone right here. I can try to hook it up, see if it works. I'll let you guys decide. You don't have to give me your phone number. You know, we're not posting phone numbers online, but if there's anything you want to talk about Compass or Paper Wars or magazine games, do you have your own dedicated gaming space? You name it. I'm happy to take any calls from you guys. So I'll just stand by on that. And in the meantime, I'm going to check the comments here, see what we have. Berlin 85. So we're talking about magazine games here. Berlin 85, very, very good game for sure. Yeah, Shin Godzilla's mentioning sometime. Now, Armada was interesting because Armada, the rules were a disaster, as the SPI staff mentioned. They didn't do development of the rules. And I think I got my first call here. So I'm gonna try this out, see if this works. Hold on. All right, we're gonna give this a try. Do we have somebody on the line here? Okay, Steven, hold on here. I'm going to see if I can get this to work for 1 second. So hold on. It's not working yet, but let me see if I can fix this. So give me 1 second. Like I said, this is the first time I've done this, and I've spent only the last half hour trying to put this together. So let me see if I can find a way to change how this is working. So let me go to my phone here. And the problem right now, it's not going through the Rodecaster Pro. So that's what I was afraid of. So right now it is not connecting properly, but I bet I can get this to work if I keep trying. But right now I've got it connected, but it doesn't. Here we go. Hold on. Okay, I bet I got you now, Steven. Are you there? Still there, Steven? I think I've lost Steven. I don't hear Steven.
Hello?
Hey, Steven, are you there? Is that you?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you now. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you fine.
All right, Steven, where are you calling us from tonight?
I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia, right down here in the heart of Dixie.
All right, great. Well, thanks for bearing with me. Like I said, I've had a crazy day today. I've had all kinds of problems. Our guests couldn't make it, no fault of their own. It's been a little crazy here, but I'm so happy you called in. I've talked a little bit about magazine games, table space. We can talk about Compass, you name it. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, the one thing I wanted to talk about was, what does Compass have in the pipeline concerning American Civil War games? I'm a big American Civil War gamer myself, yep. And we've got a game club down here, the Georgia 81st Historical Wargaming Society, and we'd love to hear what you've got going on concerning the American Civil War.
All right, so we've got several things going on. I'm going to see if I can pull them up here really quickly, so let me see if I can do that for you. So I appreciate you you mentioning that. So let me go here. So first thing I'm going to mention is we have I'm going to actually pull it up on screen. So if you're watching on screen from your computer, all the better. So let me hide the dial-in number since we've got you on right now. So what we've got Manassas. So I want to mention is Manassas is going to be coming soon. And this, have you heard of Manassas before?
No, I haven't.
So Manassas was done by Iron Crown Games. It's by a gentleman by the name of, let's see, Rick Britton. It's the claim to fame on this game is, if you know Mark Herman, the designer, Mark Herman, this is his favorite game that he did not design himself. So this is his all-time favorite game, and it's on the Civil War. It's a battle game. We've got the map here. I can show you just briefly on screen here. What we did is we're copying the map, making it look exactly the same as the original. So the first battle of Manassas is what we have here. There's also, I know there's other Civil War games coming. There's like a duo Civil War game coming. Let me see if I can pull that up on screen as well. So this game right now, Manassas, is on pre-order. It's available from us. So let me go to the other pre-orders because I know there's more. So this is a way we can just sort of scroll through and find it. So yeah, here's the other one, which I think is quite popular, that we've done a show on before. It's called Brothers at War 1862. So what this is going to be it's going to be Steve, it's going to be a quad game. So I think quad games are really popular. So this is 4 games. It's 1862 obviously is the year of all these battles. So we've got Antietam, South Mountain, Mill Springs, and Bloody Valverde. So those are the 4 battles we're leading with. We've also got the back of the box on here, by the way. So I definitely would recommend check out on screen Brothers at War 1862. That's a nice, I think that's probably a nice balance. So Manassas is a single battle game. It's going to be really nice, large, beautiful components. Then we've got a quad game. So you've got 4 different battles to choose from. So I think this is going to be really quite popular. We're going to have other games in the series for the other years as well. I do know also that we've been hard at work on a game called The Great Rebellion. Think of it, do you have any SPI war games? Do you have any games by SPI? Like Monster Games or any games?
Just a few. We've played a few in the group and everything like that. I'm not a little bit younger myself, so I don't have as many SPI games myself. Okay. But we've got a few in the group that we've enjoyed.
Okay, so there's a monster game that we're working on. I hope it's going to be finished at some point. It's a huge project. It's like War Between the States from SPI. So it's like a 3 to 4 map game. It's a monster game on the entire American Civil War. There will be a lot of smaller scenarios included. Unfortunately, it's not something where we have it yet available on pre-order because it's such a large project. We have had it played, set up at Compass Games Expo, so where the designer's been working with the game. So I can mention that, as far as a monster game goes, we're hoping to see progress made on it. And I'm just thinking, top of my head, yes, there was another one here. So another Civil War game. So I've got another one here for you. So it's not a quad game. This is 2 games. So we've gone from a single game Manassas to the 4 games for Brothers at War 1862. And now we've got 2 games in one box, which is Flanks of Gettysburg. You can see it's Little Round Top and Culp's Hill. So that's a third game. That's another game on pre-order. I'd say of all the pre-orders I've showed you so far, Brothers at War 1862, the quad game, is probably going to be the first game that we're going to be shipping. It has a chance for this year. I'd like to say the same about Manassas. I honestly I'm not sure about Flanks of Gettysburg. That could be this year. It's by John Paniski. His designs get done pretty quickly. It might be done. As far as artwork goes, I'll have to check. But we'll have probably 2 releases at least covering the Civil War this year. And I'd have to check Paper Wars. I'd have to see if Paper Wars has another Civil War game coming up. But I hope this information.
Well, Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Let me ask you about Battle Hymn Volume 2. Any chance of that making it to to anybody's desk? We've been waiting for that one for 4 years now.
Yeah, exactly. I should have mentioned that first, actually, because we talked about it with Bill Thomas last week during our town hall. So Bill spent about 5 minutes talking about that game, and so what's happening there is it's going to be turned in end of next month, is my understanding. So it's going to go to final artwork in about a month. And then it will go to the printers later. So I don't know if it could make it this year to be released. I have to actually go back to our town hall that we just had last week with Bill Thomas because he talks about it. He talks about the schedule, but he was very upbeat. He was actually very excited to announce. I've heard from Eric Lee Smith, the designer, and guess what? Battle Hymn 2 is now wrapping up. Some final play testing, I think, of the second scenario or one of the scenarios. There's also solitaire rules that were added to the game system overall for all the games there. So yeah, so I should have mentioned Battle Hymn 2 obviously is definitely around the around the turnpike coming shortly. What's your favorite what's your favorite Civil War game, or what Civil War games do you and your group like to play, if I can ask?
Well, we love Eric Lee Smith's games. Obviously, it's hard to looking at the old victory game of the Civil War. Of course, we loved Battle Hymn. Those are 2 of our favorite games. Hit the table regularly. We see For the People on the table a lot, which of course is kind of just a permutation of Eric Lee Smith's system and everything like that. And we love all this. We play a lot of the Compass games in our group, not just Civil War, but I think that's probably the largest segment of our humble little group is people that are interested in playing Civil War games and everything like that. As far as Compass is concerned, we love Battle Hymn. We want to see Battle Hymn Volume 2, and we just can't wait for it to go on go to the printers and then get shipped. That's what we want to see. But hey, buddy, let me step aside so somebody else can call.
No problem.
I don't want to dominate the show.
No
and everything.
problem.
But hey, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you so much, Steve. Thanks for calling, and thanks for calling in. Thanks for being a guinea pig. And like I said, the sound, not everything's worked out. So I appreciate you being patient, and I'll try to see if we can get another caller in. Not sure it's going to work. Like I said, I'm just trying this out. But also, just so you know, Civil War by Eric Lee Smith, we're going to be doing a reprint of that game. So I know you mentioned that game, that your group likes Victory Game Civil War by Eric Lee Smith. So we're going to be doing that game. I believe there's also some possible talk consideration for Across 5 April. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, Steve, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. If anybody else, again, would like to call in, I think we've had some calls come through that I missed. Let me see if I can actually find them. I don't know if I can call back or not, but I'll be happy to take another call from anybody who wants to call in. Yeah, it looks like if anybody wants to call in, we could probably take one more call. Otherwise, I thought I'd let you guys go. And you guys have been so kind again. I'm so sorry that we couldn't get our guests on for tonight. It happens sometimes, as you know. It's sort of the pitfalls of scheduling these things, but it happens sometimes. But yeah, no, I'll look for one final call here for a minute. In the meantime, let me check for any comments that we have here. I have played this game. So Tim, I have played, I can't pronounce it probably right, Ruizit Ridge. I've played that game and I loved it. That's from SPI magazine, S&T, when TSR took over the magazine. So I absolutely love that one. That was a great game. So Across 5 Aprils, yes, we're definitely looking at that for sure. But yes, we're going to definitely be doing for 100% certainty. I'm not sure about Across 5 Aprils. We'll have to make sure about that. I know it's come up recently, but Eric Lee Smith's Civil War game, we're actually going to definitely be doing that game. I am looking at this game. Also looking at White Death. So GDW's White Death has come up recently, just to let you know. So I am paying very close attention to you guys out there, and I've seen a lot of talk about GDW titles being Belter, and most recently White Death. So somebody says they're trying to call. So David, go ahead and try to call. I'm not sure why it didn't work, but yeah, I'll keep I got my phone right here. I hope it still works. But if you want to try calling again, David, the phone number again, just so you have it here. It's right here. It's 469-343-4138. I'll try to pick up if you can call in. Yeah, be looking forward to talking to you if you can try that again. So let's see what some games on the table behind me. So yeah, so I'm working right now. So on Manassas, Manassas is the one I talked to Steve about in Atlanta. Oh, hold on.
To accept, press 1.
Hey, Mo, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing, John?
Good. Thanks for being there. Let me just do this real quickly while we talk to you. Somebody was asking what games I have on my table behind me, Dan, and Facebook. So
Sure.
we've got I've got Manassas here. So this is the Iron Crown Enterprises edition of the game. So this is the original that Rick Britton did. This is the game that Mark Herman mentions. It's his favorite game that he did not design himself. And the reason I have this out is because we are making some changes. We're adding displays to track formations and what state the formations are in. So I'm going through this, working with the artist and Rick Britton. We've had some calls just going through these new enhancements because we have roster sheets. The game comes with roster sheets, but we want to give you the option to have displays on your table instead. Now, this one, I believe, is being done by Lock and Load. I hope I didn't get the publisher wrong, but I believe for the last year or two, they're looking to get Trial of Strength out. This was done by Panther Games in Australia. It's got a really nice climax game system where movement and combat are integrated. You expend movement points to initiate combat. So it's got a unique system to it. And then I'm spending quite a bit of time here because this is one that I want to do. I'd like to find a way to do this one. So this is probably one game. This is one of the few games I haven't played yet that I've just heard from everybody. They love this game. So everybody who knows Russian Front, who's played it, talks about, yes, it's in hex combat. You have the stacks in the hex doing combat in the same hex, not adjacent. But everybody, I don't know, Mo, do you have Russian Front?
No, I don't. That's one that I definitely need to add to my
this
library. That's for sure.
This one goes like 75 to 100 on eBay. So I'm looking at this now. Unfortunately, the designer passed away several years ago. But I hear for a lot of people, this is sometimes their favorite Russian front game. But thanks for calling, Mo. Let everybody know where you're calling from. Where are you joining us from tonight?
Well, I'm calling from Allen, Texas. I'm a longtime listener, first-time caller.
Oh my gosh,
And,
there we go.
First question. First question I got for you is: you were talking about faster games before, like with the magazine games and all that stuff. Are there any plans for faster playing, lower rules complexity games from Compass? And along that same line of thought, what's the status of the Russian campaign?
Perfect. Yeah. So actually, I think so. One thing I'll have to say, Mo, is I wouldn't say we have like this emphasis that says we've got to do these simpler games. Like, I think here's the reason why. We know our magazine Paper Wars is going to be simpler games in one sitting. So we know already through Paper Wars, every issue will be a single sitting type game. With the exception of Ty's big game coming soon, K-Scaled, which will be like a monster magazine game in a few issues away. But everything else is one map typically. Then also we do have some pure card games, like we've got Napoleon's Eagles, pure card games. We've got solitaire games galore, which can be done in a single sitting. What I'm talking about are the games by Gregory M. Smith. For example, I think Joe Carter's Devil Boats, and then his next game, which is being worked on right now, which is the Schnell boats, the German S-boats to Britain. These are games. These are all solitaire systems where you do missions. You do a couple of missions. You do those in a single sitting. So I think between magazine games, some pure card games, some solitaire-driven games, because there's also, don't forget, there's America Bomber. We got Defending America coming this month. So already there's all these games, I think, that are these single sitting games. So I don't think Bill's thinking, how do I do more single sitting games? Then if you think about the quad games, we've got 3 or 4 quad games already in the works. There's another American Civil War quad game, back to our caller, Steve from Atlanta, I didn't mention, but there's a new project that's another quad game on Civil War that's being worked on by a pretty well-known designer, but I'm not going to get into that yet because it's way too early. So I think the quad games speak to that single sitting type of approach. I'll tell you what I'd like to see, though. What I'd like to see is a quad game approach where somehow the games can be combined into a bigger game. So I love the single quad games that they're single battles, but there's certain historical situations like Battles for the Ardennes from SPI. You can combine all 4 maps to do the whole campaign. There's some games where you can take 2 maps and put them together. So that's, for example, Eastern Front Battles quad that's coming from Compass later this year. That has 4 games, but 2 of the games can link together for a longer extended campaign around Kursk, the battles of Kursk. So I love quad games. Don't get me wrong. Like my favorite quad game is probably, it's either Army Group South or Great War in the East quad from SPI. Those are my 2 favorites. And then I like Across 5 Aprils a lot as well. But none of those really link together for one bigger game. I don't think there's too many quad games like that. I'd love to see quad games that can link together. And I think that would be cool for designer. So I could go to a designer and say, hey, instead of doing a 1-map Eastern Front game or 1.5 maps on Eastern Front, is there a way you can break them up into separate standalone maps and battles or parts of a campaign? Can they be done that way? Like Danny Parker did for Battles for the Ardennes. And then we can promise this linking. Yeah. So if you want to sit down for a weekend, like since you're like 10 miles from me, living 10 miles away, we could either do a single quad game in a few hours on a weekend at a coffee shop, or we could set up all 4 quad games, put them together, and maybe spend a whole weekend at your house playing the full quad, all linked together. I would love to have that choice.
That would be awesome.
I would love to have that choice. But did that answer your question? So I think, I don't think there's a focus on that because I think it's happening so much already that I think what Bill's focus is we want to make sure everything's as much solitaire playable. We want to have as many games as solitaire playable as possible. But I think we're feeling pretty good. Like if I think about the games on pre-order, with the exception of maybe Adam Starkweather's games, which are meant to be monster games on purpose with smaller one-map scenarios. Everything we pretty much do, I think, are almost single-sitting games to a certain point.
No, they definitely are. And, along that lines of the 4 quad games, making one big game, Stalingrad would make for a great theater for that. You could have 4 individual sections of Stalingrad and then put them all together and have the Battle of Stalingrad.
Yeah, what was it? Nova Games did way back when Battle for the Factories, and Nova Games did a second game that linked together. Yep. And then I know L2 did L2 through Dana Lombardi, Art Lupinacci. They did the entire huge Stalingrad game in one box. But I personally I've never pushed for this. I've never pushed for a quad game approach where it actually take a battle or campaign that you can piece it out, but then have it come together. I'd love to see. I haven't tried that yet with any designers, but I think that would be very cool because I think part of us still wants the bigger game, the promise of the bigger game experience. We still sort of want that. And with Vance's North Africa series games that we're doing, like Decision at Kasserine, and we're going to be getting into some other ones, those are going to have a chance to link together as well. So those will get quite big over time. But no, interesting discussion. That's a great question. Did you have another question at all you want to ask? That was a great question.
No, I'll jump off so you can take another caller.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, John.
All right, thank you so much. We'll see if anybody else wants to call in. I think I've got time for one more caller. If you want to call in, be happy to take your call. I know I apologize if I missed your call. Like I said, we don't have a fancy call waiting system here. It's just me and my iPhone. And that's it. And once the call comes through, I'm going to try to take it. But no, I appreciate Mo and Steve calling in very much. Let's see if we have any other... we have a lot of comments here. I've missed all these comments. Holy smokes. I think, Decision Games is doing something with Fifth Core. And they're talking about a multi-magazine issue. Now, Decision Games did something interesting, which I'd like to take a crack at, to be honest with you. It's the John Shetler series of games. So are you familiar with the... Oh, hold on. Here we go. We got another caller. See if I can get this to work.
Kevin.
To accept, press 1.
Hi, this is John at Compass Live. How are you doing today?
Hello, John.
Hi, who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? You're on live.
Hi, this is Kevin McPartland. Yeah.
Hey, Kevin. We got a Kevin. Okay, Kevin. So everybody knows Kevin has a design which I'm going to pronounce incorrectly. So Maori Wars. You're going to have to pronounce the game for me, please, Kevin. Your design.
Yeah, you got it right, Maori. Cloud. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit.
When Mo called and asked about.
Yeah.
So when Mo called and asked about shorter, less complex games, I'm disappointed you didn't mention Marek.
Oh, I should have. There's so many. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. It's so tough because I think the way Mo asked the question was, is there a special focus on these single sitting games? And when I think of it that way, there's so many. I mean, we have so many titles that are single sitting games. It's hard to keep them all in my head because I'd say probably we have 20 or 30 on pre-order, but you're right. And what's nice about your game is I think your game is very much like is it safe to call it a crossover game? That it's not like a hex-based war game. It's sort of a Euro style in a way. It's a light Euro style flair to it, a historical game. Would that be a fair way to characterize it? I could probably go to the product page and cheat. Actually, I should just pull it up on the product page.
It's still very much a war game because I mean the idea is to kill your opponent. So that's not really the kind of passive aggressive thing you get in Euro games.
Here we go.
It's really a stripped down war game. Card driven, basic, build your forces and smack your opponents.
What's interesting about card driven is some of our card driven games have actually been a little bit more involved. Like I know some of our games have pretty detailed systems. Like even though it's card driven, they really get into the details. Like the rules can get pretty thick at times. But yours, in your case, do you know what the rule booklet count is probably going to look like yet for your game? I think it's
yeah. It's the rules themselves are 8 pages. There's a page of solitaire rules.
Yeah.
And there's a few pages more of historic notes and such.
Yeah. I see here it's complexity 4 out of 10. Yeah, that's definitely this definitely falls in the category what Mo was saying. Do you have and also what I like about your game, which is why I'm glad you called in, actually, Kevin, is it's not your typical World War II game or World War I. I've been talking a lot about Civil War tonight. With the first caller, Steve, that's his favorite era. We've talked a lot about World War II, especially with the older magazine games. I think of all my magazine games I picked, I think all of them except for one, Stonewall, are all World War II games. So I think what's nice, and somebody mentioned this online about Compass, it was actually doing Ardwolf Lair's recent counter clipping stream that he did earlier this week. Somebody asked him, well, what about more obscure titles, not your typical Eastern Front or Civil War, et cetera, et cetera? Who's going to be publishing games like that? Holland Spiel was mentioned, of course, but yeah, Compass was definitely mentioned. And I think a large reason for that is games like what you're doing that we're fortunate to be able to publish.
Sure, no.
You know,
I just got my copy of Cradle of Civilization, so that's off the beaten path. It looks terrific.
So as a designer, do you want to, is this going to be your lane? Like if you look at, and I know you've done a similar title before. I know with GMT you've done similar. Is this going to be the lane you're going to see yourself staying in, card-driven, single sitting, say 4 or 5 complexity style games? Do you have any thoughts about that? You want to share with everybody what your thoughts are on that as a designer?
That's where I see, because that's the kind of game I like. That's what I'm playing nowadays.
Yeah,
I'm just like what you were saying about earlier. I just don't have the time or the bandwidth to do these massive war games like I used to. But I've got another design with you guys that's also similar. Easy, quick playing, card driven game. So I guess we can't mention that title yet.
Is it on the pre-order yet? If it's, it's not, I was going to say,
No.
If it was on pre-order, I could mention it, but that's a good point. So, and that's one thing that people ask. So this comment comes up a lot about Compass. It's like, well, all these games are coming out. You have no time to develop them. They're like, you're probably doing these games in 3 months or 6 months, no quality check, they're just too fast. And what people don't realize, like yourself, we have a lot of projects we can never talk about at all, because they've been going on for a year or 2 years, or designers like yourself. You're doing Maori Wars, and then you're like, you know what, I want to do this game. And you can do more than one design at a time, but we might not be able to talk about it yet because of the timing. We have we have our pipeline, and we can't talk about literally every project out there. It would be, I think people would say it's information overload at Compass as it is already. We have so much to cover, and Bill's always doing 2 or 3 unboxings during the town halls. So we're not short on material, but I think what people miss is it's not a designer, it's not Kevin McPartland saying, "Oh, I can do a design for you in 2 months." And you can put it in pre-order, and then, it will ship within 6 months of the idea. We don't work that way. It's all these things are thought out. They're a year plus in development, design, easy. I've got a lot of games that are 2 to 3 years, and they've been on pre-order for 2 or 3 years. So let me ask you one last question before I let you go here, because I want to wrap up the session. It's almost 8 o'clock. I want to thank you, Kevin, for calling in. And that is, what did you learn? What did you learn? What's the one takeaway for you? What did you learn? What did you become educated more about in your design process? I know with playtesting and development, the focus is on the game, but you as a designer, you have to balance the impact of historical events, make sure the play balance is done justice, like a historical event doesn't have too much impact on the game. Was there anything interesting you've learned with your design work in Maori?
Well, the main thing with any card-driven game, especially, is that you take a deep dive into the history. And just in this case, it's the whole, immersing myself in the culture. And it's just amazing what these people accomplished. And it just doesn't get out there. People are not aware of their amazing. And that's one of the reasons why the game focuses on pre-colonial. It's just about the Maori and what they accomplished and what they did. And so I know there's a lot of people who are screaming cultural appropriation, but hey, no one else did this game. And, I'm trying to respectfully present this to people who are not aware of what's going on or what happened
in New Zealand and in Polynesian culture in general.
Absolutely.
So that was the main thing I learned.
Well, thanks for sharing. That's really great. What I'm looking forward to is when I have the opportunity to interview you formally for a whole show where we can talk about this game and in much more detail and show all the components and talk more about. I want to talk more about your playtest experience. I want to talk about the sources you used, your bibliography you used. I think all those things would be really super interesting because this is not a topic everybody games every year like Bulge or Eastern Front or Civil War, Pick Your Battle. This is something that comes along every so often. And we're very excited. I'm so happy you called in, Kevin. Thank you so much for doing that. And I look forward
one quick thing I want to do. Mm-hmm. A quick shout out to Bruce Urian, who did the graphics. I see he's on tonight, and he's just amazing. He did just amazing work with this. Go check it out, guys. Everyone check it out on the Compass Games website.
Well, they're
great.
Well, what they should do is they need to pre-order the game, not check it out. They need to pay later, pre-order and pay later. Let's cut to the chase here. Let's just say go to the game. You know, how many Mario War games are out there? Like maybe 2 or 3. I don't know how many there are, to be honest. I haven't researched this, but it can't be 10 or 20. It can't be 10 or 20. I mean, there's 10 or 20 books, but I don't think there's 10 or 20 board games on this topic. Am I wrong?
No, there's a few Euros that it's really just a theme. But then there's John Paninsky's game, Mary Wars, where they were fighting the British. That's a completely different topic.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm excited about your game. Thanks for mentioning it. Thanks for reminding me that yes, your game definitely fits that sweet spot as far as where we want to be with complexity and interesting topic. And this is why to be honest, this is why we're able to be in a position to hopefully make customers more satisfied with what we're trying to do, because we give them a variety of games at different levels and complexity. And I'm so happy to see your games coming along so well. It's gonna be a great game once it's released, and it's a mounted map. So people need to pay later now because it's a mounted map. It's gonna have cards. It's got the whole shebang. It's gonna be a great production quality. So.
3/4 inch counters. They are huge.
They're perfect.
They're amazing.
There you go. All right, everybody, 3/4 inch counters. Hit your pay laters. Kevin, thank you so much. That's awesome. You're awesome tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks, John.
Take care. Have a good one. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. I hope that was. I hope you enjoyed. We had a little banter there, and we had 3 great call-ins. Gosh, that was the first. I hope those call-ins were something that you found of interest. I want to thank Steve, Mo, and Kevin for calling in tonight. Lots of great comments in here for sure. Oh my gosh. Maury, we're not going to say that about me. No. Blue hexes. If you want blue hexes and you'll pre-order, we can add blue hexes to any game that you want. So, and I've got the blue lights behind me right here. So, absolutely. So I hope you guys, Napoleon's, some great comments in here. So Brian, Napoleon's Last Battle Squad was one of the best. I agree. I wish I had the designer signature or the designer edition from SPI with the mounted maps. My copy is, I got the flat tray, and I've got a really beat up designer version. The box is in horrible shape. So I think I've talked about Combat 2, but watch the town hall from last week. Bill talked about the release of Combat 2, that it's making progress, that he's very pleased with that. Yes, a Monster Magazine game. I'm just catching up on your comments now, everybody. So thanks for bearing with me. I know we're in overtime here almost. We're on top of the hour. But yes, there will be a Monster game, 2 maps, Case Guild. That's the game SPI didn't release back in the day, and Ty Bomba is bringing it to fruition. So if you have an interest in, we like doing alternate history stuff too. It's just it's a game. So we do all types of games, all types of topics, and that's what it's all about. And Ty, of course, does a lot of alternate history games. Jack's making a comment that he really likes the Battle Hymn system. So I'd say yes, more power to you. And I'm so happy that Volume 2 is going to be coming. Kevin got through here before our little chat tonight. So very happy that Kevin could get through tonight. So thanks for calling in, Kevin. Okay, Bruce is also working on Iron Armor. So I know Kevin mentioned the work that Bruce Urian's done. Bruce did NATO, and he's also doing Iron Armor. And he's just doing a bang-up job. Bruce Maxwell's really, it's crazy what Bruce Maxwell's done. Thanks, Adam, for the props about Russian Front. I hope you guys might be interested if there's a way that we can bring that game back. Again, the designer passed away. It's one of the best games ever done. So we don't know. I don't know because of, we have to check with Hasbro and the ivory towers of Wizards of the Coast. I don't know. Somebody asked about Russian Campaign. I think that was Mo. So that game, Russian Campaign, is going to be released this summer. I actually have just the mounted map in the other room. I don't want to go grab it and come back. That would be crazy. But I know Bill's going through the components from the printer. They're just coming in now. I've just got the map sheet, the mounted map board so far, and I'm going through that. So everything looks really good for Russian Campaign. This is the original 1974 edition with some wrinkles. We added as optional rules some of the mechanics from the Russian Campaign 2 that Jedco did in a red box a few years, 2 years, 3 years later. So we were able to sneak in. John Edwards said, I want the original game. That's my favorite. Please take my original design. Just take that. And that's what we did. We took the original design, but then we want to do one better. So we threw in some optional rules to capture the flavor of some of the major rule introductions in the second game too. So yeah, Russian Front's getting some love here. Yes, Lock and Load was the game for... So at some point, I think I saw the rule booklet, or I think Mo did a unboxing of the. Mo actually did an unboxing of this for Lock and Load with a advanced copy of the rules, which looked pretty cool. But that was like 2 years ago. So Mo, do you know anything about the status of that game? I mean, we want all the publishers to do great, and I hope it's going to happen. Okay, so definite buys. So if we can make a Cross 5 Aprils happen, which would be a straight reprint, to be honest, Battle Hymn is sort of where that whole, the train has moved down the track, guys. So all the new stuff is going to be Battle Hymn by Eric Lee Smith. But guess what? If you're saying that Compass, please consider Cross 5 Aprils as a reprint, I would buy it. I want to have it. Update the graphics, but yeah, it's not going to change the game. The game's not going to change because Eric Lee Smith is not going to be spending time on a Cross 5 Aprils. He's doing it already with Battle Hymn. So let's be honest. Battle Hymn is sort of the new flavor across 5 Aprils. Let's see. Harpoon is still being done. Yep, that's true. That's true. Yes, we're going to definitely do Civil War by Victory Games. This will be pretty much a straight reprint. And speaking with Eric, that's what we talked to every designer about every design they have that they've done in the past. We asked them, are there changes you want to make, etc., so on and so forth. And he would really like it to stay pretty much to the original game. So absolutely, that's where we're at. And yes, Board Game Bloke, absolutely correct. You nailed it, nail on the head. The train that left the track, which was Across 5 Aprils, is now Battle Hymn. That is the new version of Across 5 Aprils. You absolutely nailed that. So bonus points for Board Game Bloke. He nailed it out. Jack's a playtester of Battle Hymn 2, so there's props for somebody very close with the rules. And Eric Lee Smith does a great job with the rules, but Jack does great jobs with the rules as well. No question about it. Big monster American Civil War game. I mentioned the Great Rebellion. We're hoping the design can continue to make some progress. Thank you, E4 Airmen, for mentioning Belmont was released in Paper Wars in the past year or two, and that is definitely worth checking out. So, Steve in Atlanta, please check out Paper Wars. Just type Belmont. Matter of fact, I'm going to show it for you if I can, how this works. So what you need to do is go to our website. I'm going to type the word Belmont. It is issue 87. Issue 87 is Belmont. There's a Civil War game right there. Very good one. Gotten some good feedback from everybody. So absolutely. Yes, Flanks of Gettysburg we mentioned. So absolutely. Got that coming. Back to magazine games. Struggle for Stalingrad. I have not tried. That was an old Wargamer magazine, an older edition. And between you and me, guys, I love the older games. So I'm a big fan of older games, to be honest with you guys. So I really love those older ones. So I think I've caught up now. Yep, there we go. So let me know how this was for you guys. I'm so sorry. No pre-order tonight. We tried. We're going to do it. We're going to have a lot of pre-orders this year, so it's not a huge loss, hopefully. Our special guest we're going to have on in the next episode, I hope, that, again, the whole power plant just sort of blew. So he's in a blackout right now. He has no power whatsoever. So we'll talk about that with him when we have him on as a special guest. But we had 3 special guests. We had, we had Steve from Atlanta. We had Mo from Allen, and we had Kevin. And Kevin, I forgot what town. Did I ask you? Maybe I didn't ask you what town you called in from. I think you mentioned it. But so we had 3 special guests somehow. We pulled it together at the end. And if you like this format, I'm happy to continue trying it at some point. If you'd like to have more chat, if you'd like to be able to call in yourselves, I'll try to figure out how to make the phone system work a little bit better. I don't know if for the Applebee's, for our after hours party, I'm not sure if Mo is available, but as an FYI, if you head over to our Discord server, which is in our toolbar on our website, you see the Facebook icon, Twitter, YouTube. This last one, which you might not recognize, that is our Discord server. If you click on that, that will take you to Discord, and that's where we have our Applebee's Lounge, where we do our after hours party. So maybe Mo can say in the chat here whether he's going to be available for after parties or not tonight. But usually we get everybody together to do that. I probably won't be able to make it, unfortunately, just because I'm pretty scattershot from trying to get a guest on tonight, which I sort of failed miserably with. Although I tried a few times, it just didn't work out. So yeah, Mo will be there. So if you want to join the Applebee's after party, please join Mo. And again, I just want to take a moment. I want to thank you guys so much, just to let you know that we will have Town Hall next week, next Thursday, with Bill Thomas. As a reminder, again, from our website, if you go to our website, to our news section, please check out our June specials. Again, we have 2 operational scale system games. We have Korea Fire and Ice. It's only $50 instead of $85. We have Vietnam Rumor of War. It's only $55 instead of $89. And Bargain Basement Pricing Alert. We have Ostkrieg World War II Eastern Front. That's definitely playable in a single sitting, and it is solitaire playable as well. That is only $35 instead of $59. So please check that out. As a reminder, we also have Compass Games Expo. We have 30 people already registered early for this event in November. Check it out from our website. You'll see the main link for it. You'll also see we've got the attendees listed when they arrive, what they're looking to play. We've got the sign-up sheet and a sort of a matching service of who wants to play the same type of game. So all that is available there. So again, everybody, just want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Please join us next week on June 17th when we're joined by Bill and Billy Thomas for our next town hall. And again, I want to wish you all a good night. Have a great weekend, and I will see you guys all in 1 week. Take care, and bye-bye, everybody.